Welcome, intrepid explorers of the past, to the lost civilizations, secrets buried in time. Tonight, we embark on an epic quest, delving into the shadows of history to unearth the stories of remarkable societies that once flourished, only to vanish, leaving behind whispers, monumental riddles, and enduring mysteries. Our journey will explore what truly makes a civilization lost, whether through sudden cataclysm, gradual decline, undeciphered scripts, or forgotten knowledge, and what profound lessons these forgotten worlds hold for us. From the meticulously planned cities of the Indus to the legendary depths of Atlantis, the enigmatic temples of the Maya, the awe-inspiring engineering marvels of Egypt, and the silent, watchful sentinels of Easter Island, prepare to witness the astonishing rise, the breathtaking brilliance, and the often mysterious fall of cultures that indelibly shaped the very trajectory of human history. Join us as we peel back the layers of millennia, confronting questions that continue to challenge our understanding of who we are, where we came from, and where we might be headed. Our grand odyssey into the annals of forgotten history begins not in the sun-drenched valleys of the Nile or the fertile crescent of Mesopotamia, but in the vast alluvial plains of South Asia. Here, cradled by one of the world's great river systems, the mighty Indus, a civilization arose that, for centuries, lay entirely unknown to the modern world. Its secrets remained entombed beneath layers of silt, its existence a blank page in humanity's collective memory. We speak, of course, of the Indus Valley civilization and its twin jewels, the cities of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. For much of the 19th and early 20th centuries, the established narrative of ancient history in India began much later, typically with the Vedic period, around 1500 BCE. Scholars, often working under the British colonial administration, primarily focused on later Buddhist and Hindu sites. The very concept of a sophisticated urban culture predating these timelines seemed unthinkable. But beneath the seemingly unremarkable mounds of earth and brick, an astonishing truth lay waiting to be uncovered, a truth that would force a radical re-evaluation of history itself. The first tantalizing clues emerged in the 1920s. In 1921, a pioneering Indian archaeologist, Dayaram Sawhney, began excavations at a site in Punjab along the banks of the Ravi River, a vital tributary of the Indus. There, he unearthed unusual pottery fragments and, crucially, enigmatic carved seals unlike anything previously discovered in the region. This site was named Harappa, after a nearby village. The very next year, over 400 miles to the south in Sindh, near the main course of the Indus River, another Indian archaeologist, R.D. Banerjee, was exploring the ruins of an ancient Buddhist stupa. As he dug deeper, he too found peculiar seals and highly distinctive pottery. Beneath the stupa, he began to expose the brick structures of an even older, unknown city. This place became known as Mohenjo-Daro, a name in the local Sindhi language meaning mound of the dead, a title that would in time prove tragically fitting.
These astonishing preliminary findings caught the attention of Sir John Marshall, the then Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India. Marshall, a visionary leader, understood the profound significance of these discoveries. He initiated large-scale excavations at both sites, deploying teams of dedicated archaeologists, both Indian and British. What they unearthed, layer by painstakingly excavated layer, was nothing short of revolutionary. They were not merely finding isolated settlements, but the remnants of vast, meticulously planned cities, boasting levels of urban sophistication that not only rivaled, but in some respects even surpassed the contemporary achievements of ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. It became unequivocally clear that an entirely new, major Bronze Age civilization had come to light. A civilization that had thrived across an immense geographical expanse, larger than either of its more famous counterparts, stretching from modern-day Afghanistan to Gujarat in India. Let us now transport ourselves back in time to the zenith of these incredible cities, around 2500 BCE. Close your eyes and envision the bustling life within Mohenjo-Daro. As you approach its perimeter, the immediate impression would be one of awe and order. This was not a chaotic sprawl of organic growth, but a triumph of deliberate urban planning, a testament to an organized society with a clear vision. The city was laid out on an astonishingly precise grid system, a feat of engineering and foresight that would not be consistently achieved in other parts of the world for millennia to come. Imagine wide, perfectly straight boulevards, some as broad as 30 feet, traversing the city from north to south and east to west, meticulously dividing the urban landscape into well-defined, regular residential blocks. From these main thoroughfares, narrower lanes and intricate alleyways branched off, creating an efficient and remarkably coherent urban fabric designed for optimal movement and access.
But the true marvel, the most compelling evidence of the Indus people's profound ingenuity and their deep concern for public health, lay hidden beneath these very streets, an unparalleled sanitation and drainage system, arguably the most advanced of its kind in the entire ancient world. Consider this. In an era when many contemporary civilizations grappled with rudimentary waste disposal, almost every house in Mohenjo-Daro, and indeed in Harappa and other major Indus sites, boasted its own private bathing area and a toilet. Crucially, these facilities were integrated into a sophisticated network of covered brick sewers that ran meticulously beneath the city's streets. These main drains, sometimes several feet deep and wide, were expertly constructed with finely laid bricks, held together with gypsum mortar and sealed with a layer of natural tar to ensure absolute watertight integrity and mitigate foul odors. Crucially, they incorporated strategically placed manholes, allowing for regular access for cleaning and maintenance, a feature we often associate with much more recent urban planning. Wastewater from individual homes flowed efficiently into these subterranean main drains, which then channeled the effluent to larger disposal channels situated outside the city walls. This extraordinary level of public hygiene and waste management speaks volumes about a society that prioritized collective well-being and disease prevention to an astonishing degree, standing in stark contrast to the often squalid and unsanitary conditions prevalent in many other ancient cities. Structurally, both Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa shared a common architectural blueprint, typically divided into two distinct yet interconnected sectors. To the west lay a raised platform, often referred to by archaeologists as the citadel,
and to its east a much larger expanse designated as the Lower Town. The citadel, despite its name, was not a fortress in the conventional military sense, but rather an elevated mound built upon colossal mud brick foundations designed to house what appear to have been important public or communal buildings. In Mohenjo-daro, atop this commanding citadel, we find two particularly iconic and enigmatic structures. The first is the truly magnificent Great Bath. This monumental structure, measuring approximately 12 meters in length, 7 meters in width, and a considerable 2.4 meters in depth, represents a pinnacle of Indus engineering. It was meticulously constructed with finely dressed waterproofed bricks, held together with gypsum mortar and sealed with a layer of natural tar to ensure absolute watertight integrity and mitigate foul odors. Crucially, they incorporated strategically placed manholes, allowing for regular access for cleaning and maintenance, a feature we often associate with much more recent urban planning. Wastewater from individual homes flowed efficiently into these subterranean main drains, which then channeled the effluent to larger disposal channels situated outside the city walls. This extraordinary level of public hygiene and waste management speaks volumes about a society that prioritized collective well-being and disease prevention to an astonishing degree, standing in stark contrast to the often squalid and unsanitary conditions prevalent in many other ancient cities. Adjacent to the Great Bath, also prominently situated on the citadel, stood another colossal edifice, provisionally identified by archaeologists as the granary. This was an immense building, meticulously designed with a series of loading platforms and storage bays, strongly suggesting its function as a state-run storage facility for vast quantities of grains. Such a structure would have been essential for collecting and redistributing agricultural surpluses, perhaps as a form of taxation or tribute, thereby sustaining the large urban population and supporting a diverse workforce of specialists and artisans. Its substantial size indicates a highly organized and productive agricultural economy capable of generating significant surpluses, crucial for the prosperity and stability of such a vast urban center.
The Lower Town, sprawling eastward from the citadel, was where the overwhelming majority of the population lived and worked. Here, the residential buildings, though varying in size from modest dwellings to larger, more elaborate multi-room houses, consistently adhered to a remarkably high standard of construction. They were almost exclusively built of high-quality fired bricks, a resource-intensive process that speaks to both the advanced technological capabilities of the Indus people and their access to abundant fuel for their kilns. The astounding standardization of brick sizes, observed consistently across multiple Indus sites separated by hundreds of miles, is another extraordinary detail. This remarkable uniformity strongly suggests either a powerful, centralized authority dictating building codes, or at the very least, a highly efficient network of shared standards and trade, facilitating the widespread adoption of identical construction practices. These houses often featured multiple rooms, arranged around a central courtyard, which would have provided light, ventilation, and a private space for domestic activities. Access to fresh water was readily available, with many homes possessing their own private wells or sharing communal wells strategically placed within residential blocks. A striking characteristic of Indus urbanism, and indeed one of its most enduring enigmas, is the notable absence of grand palaces, elaborate royal tombs, or monumental temples that typically dominate the archaeological records of other contemporary ancient civilizations like Egypt or Mesopotamia.
This peculiar absence has led many scholars to propose that Indus society might have been remarkably egalitarian, or at least that political and religious power was distributed in a less centralized, more communal fashion. Perhaps authority rested with a council of elders, a powerful merchant class, or a priestly elite, rather than being concentrated in the hands of a single autocratic ruler or a hereditary monarch. This unique societal structure remains one of the most intriguing aspects of the Indus Valley civilization. The people of the Indus Valley were far more than just master builders. They were also highly skilled artisans, astute traders, and innovative farmers. Their economy was robust and diversified, anchored by a thriving agricultural base. They cultivated a variety of staple crops, including wheat, barley, peas, and sesame. Remarkably, archaeological evidence suggests that they were among the very earliest people in the world to cultivate cotton, processing it into textiles. This innovative use of cotton would eventually spread globally, forever changing the history of clothing. Animal husbandry was also integral to their economy, with domestication of cattle, sheep, goats, and the majestic water buffalo, which likely played a crucial role in agriculture. The craft workshops throughout Mohenjo-daro and Harappa would have been buzzing with activity. Artisans produced exquisite pottery, often meticulously shaped and fired, then painted with distinctive geometric patterns and stylized animal motifs. Metallurgy was a sophisticated art form, with the widespread production of copper and bronze tools, weapons, and intricate ornaments. They mastered the art of working with precious and semi-precious stones, crafting beautiful jewelry from materials like carnelian, lapis lazuli, a vibrant blue stone meticulously sourced from distant Afghanistan, and the softer steatite. Bead making, in particular, was a highly refined art form, with craftsmen demonstrating astonishing precision in drilling impossibly tiny holes through exceptionally hard stone beads, a feat that still impresses modern jewelers. Terracotta figurines, often depicting animals or stylized female figures, have also been unearthed in abundance, offering tantalizing glimpses into their artistic expressions and perhaps their religious beliefs.
Crucially, the Indus people established extensive and sophisticated trade networks that reached far beyond the immediate confines of the Indus Valley. Archaeological evidence, most notably the discovery of distinctive Indus seals in major Mesopotamian cities such as and Kish, provides irrefutable proof of a vibrant and sustained maritime trade with ancient Sumer. The Mesopotamians, in their cuneiform texts, referred to a distant land known as Meluha, which a significant number of scholars now confidently identify with the Indus Valley civilization. Through these extensive networks, the Indus people traded a wealth of goods: their highly prized cotton textiles, valuable timber, meticulously crafted carnelian beads, and possibly various agricultural products. In return, they likely received raw materials, such as copper and tin from Oman and other regions, which were essential for their bronze production, as well as other exotic goods from Mesopotamia and the Persian Gulf region. This intricate international commerce speaks volumes about their sophisticated understanding of logistics, navigation, economic organization, and diplomatic relations. Yet, despite all this remarkable sophistication, all this profound ingenuity, the most profound and frustrating mystery of the Indus Valley civilization lies in its unique writing system, the Indus script. Discovered on thousands of seals, pottery fragments, copper tablets, and other artifacts, this distinctive pictographic script remains, to this very day, entirely undeciphered. Unlike the hieroglyphs of ancient Egypt or the cuneiform script of Mesopotamia, both of which were eventually cracked through bilingual inscriptions, the Indus script has steadfastly resisted all attempts at decipherment. This resistance is partly due to the brevity of most inscriptions. They are typically just a few characters long, making it exceptionally difficult to identify recurring patterns, grammatical structures, or a sufficient number of symbols to build a comprehensive linguistic framework. The absence of a Rosetta Stone equivalent, a bilingual inscription that could provide a key, further compounds the challenge. The seals themselves, miniature masterpieces of ancient art, are particularly compelling. Typically square or rectangular in shape, meticulously carved from soft steatite, they feature intricate intaglio carvings of a diverse array of animals. These depictions are often remarkably realistic and vibrant, showcasing magnificent bulls, elephants, rhinoceroses, and even a mythical single-horned creature, famously dubbed the unicorn. Above these animal depictions, rows of the enigmatic Indus script are invariably inscribed. Some seals depict fascinating human-like figures, engaged in what appear to be complex ritualistic scenes. The most famous example is the Pashupati seal, which portrays a seated, three-faced horned figure surrounded by various animals. This image has led some scholars to tentatively propose that it represents a proto-Shiva deity, suggesting ancient, perhaps even foundational roots of Hinduism. These seals were almost certainly used for administrative purposes, perhaps to mark goods for trade, to signify ownership, or as amulets, functioning much like stamps or identification tags. The undeciphered script casts a veil across the direct voice of these ancient peoples, preventing us from accessing their myths, their literature, their administrative records, or even the names of their rulers from their own perspective. Given the silence of their written records, our understanding of the religion and belief systems of the Indus people is largely inferred from the rich tapestry of archaeological findings. The striking absence of monumental temples, so characteristic of many other ancient civilizations, suggests that religious practices might have been more personalized, home-based, communal, or perhaps focused on public rituals conducted in significant civic spaces such as the enigmatic Great Bath. The numerous terracotta figurines, often depicting stylized female figures, often adorned with elaborate headdresses and jewelry, have been widely interpreted as representations of a mother goddess. This ubiquitous deity would have symbolized fertility, abundance, and the life-giving forces of nature, a common and powerful theme in ancient agrarian societies. The profound reverence for water, so strikingly evident in their sophisticated bathing and drainage systems, might well have extended to sacred rivers and elaborate purification rituals, vital in a land dependent on the Indus. Animal worship, particularly of the powerful bull and the mysterious unicorn, also appears to have been a significant and sacred aspect of their spiritual life, as consistently indicated by the imagery on their seals.
Yet, despite all this remarkable sophistication, all this profound ingenuity, all this evidence of a thriving, organized society, a veil of mystery descends upon the fate of the Indus Valley civilization. Around 1900 BCE, this vibrant culture began a perplexing and irreversible decline. The great urban centers of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa once bustling metropolises, were gradually abandoned. Their sophisticated drainage systems, once a source of civic pride, fell into disrepair, becoming clogged with debris. Their wide, meticulously planned streets became overgrown. Their grand buildings slowly succumbed to the relentless forces of nature. What cataclysmic event, or series of events, could have led to the collapse of such a powerful, organized, and apparently peaceful society? The answer remains one of archaeology's most enduring and vexing unsolved mysteries, with no single, universally accepted explanation. Instead, a mosaic of compelling theories has been proposed, each contributing a piece to the puzzle. One prominent set of theories pivots on the profound impact of environmental factors. The Indus River, the very lifeblood of the civilization, is a mighty and dynamic force of nature, but also an unpredictable one. Significant shifts in its course or in the courses of its vital tributaries could have had catastrophic consequences for agrarian communities entirely dependent on its waters. The Ghagar-Hakra River, a major ancient river system that once flowed through a region now largely desert, and which many scholars identify with the mythical Saraswati River, appears to have gradually dried up around this period. The loss of such a crucial water source would have rendered numerous Indus settlements along its banks utterly unsustainable, forcing mass migrations. Furthermore, paleoclimatological studies provide compelling evidence of prolonged periods of severe drought across South Asia, intensified by significant changes in monsoon patterns around 1900 BCE. Such persistent aridity would have led to widespread crop failures, devastating famines, and immense pressure on agricultural communities, inevitably triggering large-scale population movements and the abandonment of once thriving urban centers. The land, once so bountiful and nurturing, may have, in essence, turned against its inhabitants. Another theory, famously championed in the mid-20th century by the influential archaeologist Sir Mortimer Wheeler, was the Aryan invasion theory. Wheeler controversially proposed that the cities were violently destroyed and their inhabitants displaced by invading Indo-Aryan tribes, traditionally associated with the later Vedic period. He cited the discovery of scattered, unburied skeletons in the streets of Mohenjo-Daro as evidence of sudden violence and massacre. However, this theory has been largely, if not entirely, discredited by subsequent rigorous research and modern archaeological scrutiny. The skeletons, upon closer examination, show no definitive signs of battle trauma, and their scattered distribution does not convincingly suggest a single cataclysmic event of mass slaughter. Moreover, comprehensive archaeological evidence for a large-scale destructive invasion and subsequent cultural imposition by a distinct group is conspicuously absent. Instead, the archaeological record overwhelmingly points to a more gradual process of decline and transformation rather than a sudden, violent conquest. Internal factors within the society itself might also have played a significant role. The relentless demands of a thriving urban civilization could have led to the overexploitation of natural resources. Extensive deforestation required for fuel to fire the countless brick kilns and metalworking furnaces, as well as for construction timber, could have led to severe soil erosion, desertification, and broader ecological degradation. Increased population density within the major urban centers, without corresponding innovations in resource management, could have strained the existing infrastructure and resource base beyond its capacity. Some scholars have also speculated about a potential breakdown in centralized authority, or even social unrest and class divisions, although direct archaeological evidence for such scenarios remains largely elusive. And, as is often the case with ancient populations, disease, silent but devastating epidemics, could have swept through the densely populated cities, decimating communities and further weakening the social fabric.
It is now widely accepted among archaeologists and historians that the collapse of the Indus Valley civilization was not attributable to a single cause, but rather to a complex and interconnected interplay of several of these factors. Environmental stress, likely a devastating combination of river shifts, the drying up of vital watercourses like the Gagar Hakra, and prolonged periods of severe drought would have led to pervasive resource scarcity and immense agricultural hardship. This, in turn, would have likely triggered internal strife, disrupted the extensive trade networks that were the blood life of their economy, and inevitably led to a gradual process of decentralization and the abandonment of the once grand urban centers. Faced with dwindling resources and mounting challenges, people would have been compelled to migrate to more sustainable regions, abandoning the sophisticated urban infrastructure. In doing so, they formed smaller, more scattered settlements, tragically losing much of the grand urban planning, advanced sanitation, and specialized technologies that had so brilliantly defined their predecessors. By approximately 1700 BCE, the magnificent cities of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa were largely desolate, reduced to ghost towns. Their once impressive multi-storied structures slowly crumbled under the relentless assault of time and weather, gradually being reclaimed by the earth itself. The sophisticated drainage systems, once a hallmark of their ingenuity, became irreparably clogged with debris. The wide, meticulously planned streets filled with accumulating silt and rubbish, and the vibrant memory of their urban grandeur faded from human consciousness for millennia, awaiting rediscovery. The legacy of the Indus Valley civilization, despite its enigmatic and protracted end, is profound and enduring. Its rediscovery has fundamentally forced us to redraw the map of ancient history, revealing a civilization that existed concurrently with, and even surpassed in some aspects, the more famous cultures of Egypt and Mesopotamia. It stands as a testament to humanity's early capacity for advanced urban planning, meticulous public sanitation, and sophisticated craftsmanship. It offers tantalizing glimpses into a unique societal structure, perhaps more communal and egalitarian than many of its contemporaries, where public welfare seemed to hold a paramount position, while its script tragically remains silent, withholding its direct voice. The sheer scale, ingenuity, and advanced nature of its ruins speak volumes about a people who built remarkable cities, managed complex societies with astonishing foresight, and developed a unique cultural identity. Their story serves as an invaluable lesson for our understanding of early human achievement, the delicate and often precarious balance between human society and its environment, and the fragility of even the most advanced civilizations when confronted by overwhelming challenges. As we transition now from the tangible yet mysterious ruins of the Indus Valley to the elusive, watery myths of Atlantis, remember the profound questions that continue to linger here. What were the true stories of their daily lives, their beliefs, their joys, and their sorrows? What were the precise mechanisms and triggers that ultimately sealed their fate?
And what other secrets, what other invaluable insights still lie patiently buried beneath the forgotten mounds of the Indus Valley, awaiting a future generation to unearth and decipher them? The quest for answers, as always, continues. From the very real, yet profoundly enigmatic ruins of the Indus Valley civilization, our journey now takes a dramatic turn, venturing beyond the realm of archaeological fact into the shimmering mists of legend and enduring myth. We turn our attention to a name that has captivated human imagination for millennia: Atlantis. Is it a lost continent, a drowned utopia, a technologically advanced society swallowed by the sea, or is it merely a cautionary tale, a philosophical allegory born from the mind of one of history's greatest thinkers? The quest for Atlantis is a journey into the heart of human fascination with lost worlds, perfection, and sudden, catastrophic destruction. The story of Atlantis comes to us primarily from a single source, the renowned Greek philosopher Plato, writing around 360 BCE. His accounts are found in two of his Socratic dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. It's crucial to understand that Plato presented this story not as his own invention, but as a narrative passed down through generations. He attributes the core tale to Solon, one of the 7 sages of ancient Greece, who, during his travels to Egypt, heard it from Egyptian priests. These priests, according to Plato, claimed the events transpired some 9,000 years before Solon's time, placing Atlantis's existence around 9600 BCE, an astonishingly remote past. Plato's description of Atlantis is extraordinarily vivid and detailed. He paints a picture of a vast and powerful island nation located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which is generally understood to be the Strait of Gibraltar at the mouth of the Mediterranean Sea. The Atlanteans, he claimed, were a divine lineage, descendants of the god Poseidon himself. Their society, initially, was depicted as a utopian marvel, wise, virtuous, and technologically advanced. Imagine a sprawling capital city, meticulously engineered with concentric rings of land and water, interconnected by canals and bridges, adorned with magnificent palaces, temples, and docks. They possessed immense wealth, derived from abundant natural resources, including a mysterious shining metal called orichalcum, second only to gold in value. Their engineering prowess was legendary. They harnessed hot and cold springs to feed baths and irrigation systems, and their harbors teemed with a powerful navy, capable of projecting influence across vast oceans. According to Plato, the Atlanteans established a mighty empire, ruling over numerous other islands and parts of the mainland, including sections of Libya and Europe. Their ambition, however, eventually turned to hubris. As the divine blood diluted over generations, their moral character began to decay. They became arrogant, greedy, and warlike, setting their sights on conquering Athens and ultimately the rest of the known world. In this crucial moment, Plato presents Athens, a nascent democratic society, as the heroic defender of liberty, standing against the tyranny of Atlantis. This moralistic framing is key to understanding Plato's intentions. The climax of Plato's narrative is terrifyingly swift and absolute. As punishment for their moral degradation and imperialistic ambition, the gods unleashed a cataclysm. In a single day and night of misfortune, the mighty island of Atlantis was engulfed by colossal earthquakes and devastating floods. It sank beneath the waves, vanishing without a trace, leaving behind only impassable mud shoals in its wake. This dramatic demise, a divine retribution for their hubris, serves as the ultimate warning against the corruption of power and the erosion of virtue. The philosophical debate surrounding Atlantis began almost immediately. Was Plato presenting a literal historical account, a memory of a real catastrophic event passed down through time? Or was Atlantis a purely allegorical construct, a sophisticated literary device employed to illustrate his philosophical ideals about the perfect state, the dangers of imperial ambition, and the consequences of moral decay? Many ancient scholars, including Aristotle, Plato's student, dismissed Atlantis as pure fiction. Yet others then and now have been powerfully drawn to the idea that there might be a kernel of historical truth within Plato's vivid narrative. The sheer level of detail, the precise descriptions, and the assertion that it was a story from a verifiable source, the Egyptian priests through Solon, lend an air of authenticity that continues to intrigue. For centuries, adventurers, archaeologists, geologists, and amateur enthusiasts have launched countless expeditions and proposed innumerable theories in their quest to find the lost continent. The search for Atlantis has become a modern-day holy grail of archaeology, fueled by Plato's descriptions and the human fascination with lost utopian societies.
One of the most compelling and scientifically plausible candidates for a real-world inspiration for Atlantis is the island of Thera, modern-day Santorini, in the Aegean Sea. Around 1600 BCE, Thera, then home to a flourishing Minoan civilization, was devastated by one of the largest volcanic eruptions in recorded history. This cataclysmic event obliterated much of the island, creating the caldera we see today, and triggered massive tsunamis that ravaged coastal settlements across the Aegean, including Crete, the heart of the Minoan world. The Minoans, a technologically advanced maritime power with elaborate palaces, advanced plumbing, and a sophisticated art style, share several striking parallels with Plato's Atlanteans. The sudden fiery destruction of Thera and the subsequent collapse of Minoan dominance could easily have been distorted and exaggerated through millennia of oral transmission, transforming into the story of a sunken island. The timing, though considerably later than Plato's 9,000 years, could be attributed to a mistranslation or exaggeration of hundreds for thousands. Another intriguing, though highly controversial, proposed location is the Bimini Road in the Bahamas. Discovered in 1968, this is an underwater rock formation consisting of thousands of precisely aligned limestone blocks, stretching for almost half a mile beneath the shallow waters. Proponents argue that these blocks are too regular and organized to be natural, suggesting they are remnants of an ancient road, wall, or harbor, possibly connected to Atlantis or another lost civilization. Mainstream geologists, however, largely contend that the Bimini Road is a natural geological formation, a product of coastal erosion and seismic activity creating fracture patterns in the bedrock. The debate continues, fueled by the compelling visual appearance of the site. Other theories cast a wide net across the globe. Some point to the Richat structure in Mauritania, West Africa, often called the Eye of the Sahara. This vast circular geological formation, with concentric rings spanning nearly 30 miles, eerily matches Plato's description of Atlantis's capital. While undoubtedly a natural erosional dome, Its striking appearance has led some to speculate if it could be the physical location, perhaps later submerged and then re-emerged due to geological shifts, or if Plato's source knew of it. Other proposed sites include Sardinia in the Mediterranean, with its ancient Nuragic civilization and colossal stone structures. Even parts of the North Sea, where Doggerland, a prehistoric land bridge, was submerged. Even Antarctica, for those who believe in radical pole shifts, or Cuba, where sonar anomalies beneath the sea have been interpreted by some as sunken city structures. The overwhelming scientific and archaeological consensus remains that there is no credible physical evidence to support the literal existence of a continent-sized island nation like Atlantis, precisely as described by Plato, that suddenly sunk in a single day. Geologically, the rapid sinking of an entire continent is considered virtually impossible. The lack of any verifiable archaeological finds, despite centuries of searching, further reinforces this skepticism. Most scholars view Atlantis as either a philosophical fable designed to convey Plato's ideas about ideal states and moral decline, or as a heavily embellished myth rooted in various real-world cataclysms and the common human experience of historical memory distorting over time. Perhaps Plato was drawing on accounts of the collapse of the Minoan civilization, combined with vague knowledge of powerful ancient empires and natural disasters. Yet the enduring power of the Atlantis myth is undeniable. It has permeated literature, art, film, and popular culture for over 2 millennia. It speaks to a fundamental human fascination with lost worlds, with advanced technologies, with the tantalizing possibility of utopian ideals, and with the dramatic consequences of hubris. The psychological need for answers to ancient mysteries, for the possibility that our past holds more wonders than we currently comprehend, ensures that the legend of Atlantis will continue to captivate imaginations. It forces us to confront the question: could something truly extraordinary have been lost to the depths of time and memory? Whether Atlantis was a literal place, a composite memory of various historical events and cataclysms, or a purely philosophical construct, its story serves as a potent reminder of the human condition. It reflects our hopes for perfect societies, our fears of rapid destruction, and our unending quest for hidden knowledge. As we leave the murky waters of Atlantis, we carry with us the lesson that sometimes the greatest truths are found not in what we unearth, but in the questions we continue to ask about the nature of power, morality, and the fragility of even the most splendid civilizations. Our next destination takes us to the heart of Mesoamerica, where another great civilization, the Maya, rose and, in part, mysteriously fell, leaving behind colossal temples swallowed by the relentless embrace of the jungle. From the speculative shores of Atlantis, we now journey to a very real yet equally enigmatic lost civilization nestled deep within the dense emerald embrace of the Mesoamerican jungles. Here, the remnants of the magnificent Maya whisper tales of celestial observation, intricate calendars, advanced mathematics, and awe-inspiring architecture. For centuries, these grand cities lay hidden, their monumental temples slowly consumed by the relentless growth of the rainforest, their very existence forgotten by all but a handful of indigenous communities. The rediscovery of the Maya civilization would force the world to once again recalibrate its understanding of ancient human achievement, revealing a sophistication entirely independent of the old world. The story of the Maya is interwoven with the broader tapestry of Mesoamerican cultures. Flourishing in a region encompassing parts of modern-day Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador, the Maya were beneficiaries and innovators, building upon earlier traditions, notably that of the Olmec, often considered the mother culture of Mesoamerica. While the Olmec developed early writing, calendar systems, and monumental sculpture, it was the Maya who truly elevated these foundations to unprecedented heights. Their civilization didn't emerge as a single unified empire in the way Egypt or Rome did. Instead, the Maya comprised a network of independent, often rivalrous city-states, each with its own dynastic ruler, its own unique artistic flair, and its own monumental urban core. The Maya civilization spans an immense timeline, from the pre-classic period, beginning around 2000 BCE with the earliest settlements and agricultural practices, through the classic period, roughly 250 CE to 900 CE, which represents their zenith, and into the post-classic period, extending until the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century. It is the classic period that truly showcases their most breathtaking achievements and presents us with their greatest mystery. Imagine standing amidst the towering pyramids and plazas of Tikal in modern-day Guatemala, or the intricately carved palaces of Palenque in Mexico. These were not mere collections of buildings. They were meticulously planned urban centers designed to reflect the Maya cosmological worldview. Their monumental architecture, the colossal step pyramids that pierced the jungle canopy, the sprawling palace complexes, the sophisticated ball courts, and the intricately carved stela, or upright stone monuments, were not just functional structures. They were grand statements of power, religious devotion, and cosmic alignment. For instance, the iconic El Castilla pyramid at Chichen Itza, though from a later period, famously demonstrates their astronomical precision. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the setting sun casts a shadow that creates the illusion of a serpent, Kukulkan, the feathered serpent deity, slithering down the pyramid staircase. This alignment was not accidental. It was the result of profound astronomical knowledge. Indeed, the Maya were brilliant astronomers and mathematicians, arguably among the most advanced in the ancient world. They developed a precise and incredibly complex calendar system, far more accurate for its time than the Gregorian calendar used in Europe. The long count calendar, with its intricate cycles, allowed them to track vast spans of time and record historical events with astonishing precision. Alongside this, they utilized the Hayab, a 365-day solar calendar, and the Tzolk'in, a 260-day sacred calendar, interweaving them into a sophisticated system that governed both agricultural cycles and religious rituals. Their understanding of celestial mechanics allowed them to predict solar and lunar eclipses, track planetary movements, and align their architecture with significant astronomical events.
Their mathematical system was equally groundbreaking. The Maya independently developed the concept of zero, a revolutionary innovation that eluded many other ancient civilizations, including the Romans.
They utilized a vigesimal, base 20 numeral system, which, combined with positional notation, allowed them to perform complex calculations and record immense numbers. This intellectual prowess was underpinned by their sophisticated hieroglyphic writing system. Unlike the largely pictographic Indus script, the Maya script was a logosyllabic system, a complex blend of logograms, whole words, and syllabic signs. Its decipherment, painstakingly achieved over decades, has been one of the great intellectual triumphs of the 20th century, finally giving us direct access to the voices, histories, and myths of the Maya people. From their stelae, codices, folded books, and temple inscriptions, we've learned about their dynastic histories, their epic creation myths, their ritual practices, and their political alliances and rivalries. Maya religion and cosmology were deeply intricate, permeating every aspect of their lives. They believed in a vast pantheon of gods and goddesses associated with the sun, moon, stars, rain, maize, and death. Itzamna, the creator god, and Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, were among the most prominent deities. Ritual practices were central, often involving elaborate ceremonies, incense burning, and offerings. Bloodletting rituals, performed by rulers and elites, were believed to nourish the gods and maintain cosmic order, symbolizing the reciprocal relationship between humans and the divine. Human sacrifice, though less prevalent than in some other Mesoamerican cultures like the Aztecs, did occur, typically associated with warfare and specific religious events, offering insights into their profound beliefs about the power of sacrifice to appease the gods and ensure the continuity of life. The Maya believed in a complex underworld, Xibalba, a perilous journey for the dead, and celestial realms where gods and ancestors resided. The maize god, symbolizing the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, held a particularly revered place, reflecting the agricultural foundation of their society. Yet, like so many other great civilizations we explore, the classic Maya period experienced a mysterious and widespread decline around the 9th century CE. This phenomenon, often referred to as the classic Maya collapse, saw the widespread abandonment of many of their grand cities in the southern lowlands. Construction of monumental buildings ceased, inscriptions on stelae became rare, and vast urban centers were slowly swallowed by the encroaching jungle. While the Maya people certainly did not vanish, their descendants continue to thrive across Mesoamerica today, preserving aspects of their rich cultural heritage. The highly integrated, powerful city-state system of the Classic period fragmented and shifted dramatically. The reasons for this collapse are among archaeology's most hotly debated topics, with no single, universally accepted answer. Multiple, interconnected theories have been proposed. One dominant hypothesis points to severe environmental degradation. Intensive agriculture, necessary to feed a growing population, led to extensive deforestation. The removal of the jungle canopy resulted in soil erosion, depletion of vital nutrients, and alterations to local rainfall patterns. Simultaneously, paleoclimatological studies have provided compelling evidence of a series of prolonged and intense droughts that afflicted the Maya lowlands during the 9th and 10th centuries. This combination of human-induced environmental stress and natural climate change could have crippled their agricultural systems, leading to widespread famine and severe resource scarcity.
Another significant contributing factor was likely endemic warfare. The decipherment of Maya hieroglyphs has revealed a history of intense rivalries and conflicts between competing city-states. The iconic Tikal and Calakmul, for example, engaged in centuries of proxy wars and direct confrontations. Such incessant warfare would have disrupted vital trade routes, diverted labor and resources from productive activities to military endeavors, and destabilized the political landscape, making it difficult to respond effectively to environmental crises. As resources dwindled due to drought and deforestation, competition for remaining arable land and water would have intensified, fueling further conflict. Social and political factors also played a role. Some theories suggest a breakdown in the authority of the divine kings. If the rulers, who claimed to mediate between humans and gods, failed to bring rain or prosperity during periods of drought and famine, their legitimacy could have been undermined, potentially leading to peasant revolts or a shift in belief systems. Disease, though harder to pinpoint archaeologically, would have undoubtedly exacerbated the crisis, especially in densely populated urban areas already weakened by malnutrition and stress. Most scholars now believe that the classic Maya collapse was not caused by a single factor, but by a complex, cascading interplay of these environmental, political, and social stresses. A series of severe droughts, exacerbated by deforestation and overpopulation, crippled agricultural production. This led to widespread famine, social unrest, and intensified warfare between city-states competing for dwindling resources. The loss of faith in their leaders, combined with disrupted trade and a weakened population, created a perfect storm that led to the abandonment of the great ceremonial centers. People dispersed into smaller, more sustainable settlements, shifting away from the grand urban life. While many of the southern lowland cities declined, Maya civilization continued to flourish in the northern Yucatan, leading to the post-classic period, exemplified by sites like Chichen Itza and Mayapan. However, these later cities exhibited different architectural styles and societal structures, often with stronger influences from central Mexico. The ultimate end of an independent Maya civilization came with the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century, bringing with them new diseases, warfare, and cultural suppression. The legacy of the Maya is immense and continues to inspire wonder and scholarly investigation. Their intellectual achievements in astronomy, mathematics, and writing represent some of the highest pinnacles of human thought. Their architectural marvels, now partially reclaimed by the jungle, stand as enduring testaments to their artistry and engineering skills. The mystery surrounding their collapse serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between human society and its environment, and the complex vulnerabilities inherent in even the most brilliant civilizations. As we leave the echoing temples of the Maya, we carry with us the profound sense that even after centuries of silence, these stones continue to speak, offering lessons in resilience, ingenuity, and the ultimate fragility of power. Our next destination takes us across the Atlantic to the ancient sands of Egypt, where enduring monuments and unexplained engineering continue to baffle and amaze.
From the verdant, dense jungles of Mesoamerica, we now cross the vast Atlantic to the arid, golden sands of North Africa, to a civilization whose very name is synonymous with monumental achievements and enduring mysteries: ancient Egypt. For over 3 millennia, from around 3100 BCE, along the life-giving ribbon of the Nile River, a unified kingdom of pharaohs rose and endured, leaving behind a legacy of unparalleled architectural grandeur, profound spiritual beliefs, and engineering feats that continue to baffle and inspire us to this very day. Egypt is not just a lost civilization. It is a civilization whose secrets are still being unraveled, a living testament to human ingenuity and the pursuit of eternity. The story of ancient Egypt begins with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, traditionally attributed to King Narmer or Menes around 3100 BCE. This pivotal event ushered in the dynastic period, establishing a stable, centralized kingdom that would endure for an astonishing span of time. The Nile River was not merely a geographical feature, it was the absolute lifeblood of Egypt. Its predictable annual flooding, depositing fertile silt, allowed for an agricultural surplus that supported a highly stratified society, a massive workforce, and a powerful state. This stability, coupled with natural geographical barriers of desert and sea, allowed Egyptian civilization to develop its unique culture and monumental ambitions relatively uninterrupted for extended periods. Our journey through Egypt's monumental past must begin with the Old Kingdom, often referred to as the Age of Pyramids, from roughly 2686 to 2181 BCE. It was during this period that the very concept of monumental stone architecture in Egypt was born and perfected. The first true pyramid was the step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara, built around 2630 BCE by the brilliant polymath Imhotep, chancellor to Pharaoh Djoser. This revolutionary structure, a series of mastabas, flat-roofed tombs stacked one upon another, was the world's first large-scale stone building, a daring leap from mud brick construction that set the stage for all future Egyptian architectural wonders. But it is the Great Pyramids of Giza that stand as the ultimate symbols of ancient Egyptian power, religious belief, and engineering prowess. Built for Pharaoh Khufu, his son Khafre, and grandson Menkaure between roughly 2580 and 2560 BCE, these colossal structures are the only remaining wonders of the ancient world. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, in particular, is an engineering marvel that still defies full explanation. It comprises an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons, though some of the granite blocks in the King's Chamber weigh an astonishing 80 tons. The sheer scale of moving, lifting, and precisely placing these millions of blocks long before the invention of the wheel for heavy transport or modern machinery is mind-boggling. Their precision of construction is equally astounding. The pyramid is almost perfectly aligned with the cardinal points, its sides facing true north, south, east, and west with incredible accuracy. The base is virtually level, differing by only a few centimeters across its vast extent. How did they achieve such geometrical and astronomical precision? Theories abound, ranging from complex ramp systems, straight ramps, spiral ramps, internal ramps used to haul blocks, to elaborate lever systems and the meticulous use of surveying instruments like the Merkit and plumb bobs. The prevailing theory suggests that a massive skilled workforce, potentially numbering tens of thousands of specialized craftsmen, engineers, and laborers, toiled for decades, organized with military precision, sustained by a highly efficient logistical system. These were not slaves in the popular imagination, but rather paid workers, artisans and farmers, fulfilling their civic duty during the Nile's annual inundation, driven by a profound religious belief in the divinity of their pharaoh and the importance of securing his eternal journey. Adjacent to the pyramids, the enigmatic Sphinx, a colossal statue with the body of a lion and the head of a human, believed to represent Pharaoh Khafre, adds another layer of mystery. Its purpose, its exact age, some theories controversially push its origins further back than the dynastic period, and the weathering patterns on its stone continue to spark debate and fascination. It stands sentinel, guarding the secrets of the Giza Plateau. Following the Old Kingdom, Egypt experienced periods of decentralization and reunification, leading to the Middle Kingdom and then the New Kingdom, c. 1550 to 1070 BCE, a period of imperial expansion and unprecedented wealth. It is during the New Kingdom that we find the famous Valley of the Kings, located on the west bank of the Nile near ancient Thebes. Here, pharaohs like Tutankhamun, Seti I, and Ramses I chose to be buried in elaborate, hidden rock-cut tombs rather than conspicuous pyramids, in a desperate attempt to thwart grave robbers who had plundered earlier royal burials.
The discovery of these hidden tombs, most famously Tutankhamun's by Howard Carter in 1922, provided an unparalleled glimpse into the incredible richness of Egyptian burial practices and their profound beliefs about the afterlife. Tutankhamun's tomb, largely intact, was filled with treasures beyond imagination. Golden sarcophagi, intricate jewelry, ornate furniture, ceremonial weapons, and thousands of other artifacts, all meticulously arranged to accompany the king into eternity. The walls of these tombs were covered with vibrant, detailed hieroglyphic texts and elaborate paintings depicting the pharaoh's journey through the Duat, the underworld, his encounters with various deities, and the rituals necessary to ensure his successful rebirth. Mummification, an incredibly complex and precise process involving the removal of organs, drying of the body, and wrapping in linen, was perfected during this period, driven by the belief that the body was essential for the soul's return and eternal life. Beyond the tombs, Egypt's temples are equally awe-inspiring. The colossal temple complexes of Karnak and Luxor, dedicated to the god Amun-Re, are sprawling cities of stone, with vast hypostyle halls, towering obelisks, and colossal statues of pharaohs. Abu Simbel, built by Ramesses II, features 4 massive statues of the pharaoh carved directly into the rock face, framing a temple entrance oriented so that on 2 specific days of the year, the sun's rays penetrate the sanctuary to illuminate the statues of the gods. These architectural feats demonstrate not only immense resources, but also a sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering principles. But even with modern understanding, aspects of Egyptian engineering remain largely unexplained. How did they precisely cut and shape granite and diorite, some of the hardest stones on Earth, with tools that seem rudimentary by today's standards? Evidence of hollow drills and advanced sawing techniques exists, but replicating their speed and precision with ancient technology is challenging. The transportation of colossal statues weighing hundreds of tons and monolithic obelisks, sometimes over 100 feet tall, across vast distances and erecting them vertically continues to baffle engineers.
While theories involving ramps, levers, and massive manpower are proposed, the sheer logistics and precise execution remain astounding. The Serapeum of Saqqara, a vast underground necropolis for sacred Apis bowls, contains massive, perfectly cut granite sarcophagi, each weighing up to 100 tons, that were somehow moved into the cramped subterranean passages. These feats push the boundaries of what we believe was possible with Bronze Age technology. Egyptian religion was a deeply complex and pervasive force, centered on the concept of ma'at, cosmic order, balance, and justice. The pharaoh was considered a divine intermediary between humans and the gods, responsible for maintaining ma'at on earth. The journey through the afterlife was central to their beliefs, with elaborate rituals and magic spells from texts like the Book of the Dead guiding the deceased. The weighing of the heart against the feather of ma'at determined one's fate in the afterlife. Their advanced knowledge extended beyond construction into medicine, with surgical texts, anatomical understanding, and knowledge of herbal remedies. Their astronomy, while not focused on prediction like the Maya, was crucial for calendar keeping and aligning their sacred structures. The long and illustrious history of ancient Egypt, however, was not without its periods of decline. After millennia of near unbroken independence, internal divisions and external pressures from the Sea Peoples, Persia, Greece under Alexander the Great, and finally Rome, led to the eventual loss of its native pharaohs and its absorption into larger empires. The last native pharaoh, Nectanebo II, fled in 343 BCE, and Cleopatra VII, a Ptolemaic Greek ruler, was the last to reign before Egypt became a Roman province in 30 BCE. Yet Egypt's legacy is undeniable and eternal. Its art, architecture, and enduring mythology have profoundly influenced Western civilization and continue to inspire architects, artists, and thinkers worldwide. The ongoing archaeological discoveries, with new tombs and cities still being unearthed, ensure that Egypt remains a living, breathing mystery, perpetually revealing new facets of its ancient ingenuity and spiritual depth. What other secrets lie beneath its sands? What other engineering wonders are yet to be fully understood? The quest for knowledge in Egypt is an unending journey into the heart of human aspiration and the pursuit of immortality. As we leave the grand monuments and hidden tombs of the Nile, our final destination takes us to one of the most remote and mysterious outposts on Earth, Easter Island, and the silent vigil of its colossal Moai.
Our epic exploration of lost civilizations now brings us to perhaps the most isolated inhabited place on Earth, Rapa Nui, famously known as Easter Island. This tiny triangular speck of volcanic rock, barely 63 square miles in area, sits alone in the vast, unforgiving expanse of the South Pacific Ocean, over 2,000 miles from the nearest continental landmass. It is a place of breathtaking beauty and profound mystery, famous the world over for its haunting, colossal stone figures, the Moai. These silent sentinels, with their distinctive elongated faces and heavy brows, stand in stoic vigil across the island, their backs typically to the sea, gazing inland as if guarding a secret known only to themselves.
The story of Rapa Nui begins not with collapse, but with an astonishing feat of human courage and navigational skill. Sometime between 800 and 1200 CE, brave Polynesian explorers, master navigators utilizing sophisticated double-hulled canoes and an intimate knowledge of stars, currents, and subtle shifts in wind, sailed thousands of miles across the open ocean to discover and colonize this isolated land. They brought with them not only their rich culture, their language, and their oral traditions, but also essential provisions: taro, yams, sugarcane, chickens, and the Polynesian rat, vital for establishing a new society in a pristine yet ultimately fragile ecosystem. Over the centuries, these intrepid settlers developed a remarkably complex and flourishing society on Rapa Nui. Central to their culture was the creation and erection of the iconic Moai statues. These figures, carved from the relatively soft volcanic tuff found in the quarry of Rano Raraku, are not merely statues. They are believed to represent deified ancestors, powerful chiefs, or important lineage heads. They embodied the spiritual essence and power of their creators, acting as intermediaries between the living and the gods, ensuring the prosperity and protection of their communities. The sheer number of these statues is staggering. Over 1,000 Moai have been found on the island, with nearly 400 still in various stages of completion within the Rano Raraku quarry itself, frozen in time as if work suddenly stopped. The scale of these statues is equally astonishing. While the average Moai stands around 13 feet tall and weighs approximately 14 tons, some are considerably larger. The tallest erected Moai, Paro, reached a height of 32 feet and weighed an estimated 82 tons. An even larger unfinished Moai in the quarry, El Gigante, lies at an incredible 72 feet long and would have weighed over 200 tons had it been completed and erected. Many of the completed Moai were transported to ceremonial platforms called ahu, often located along the coastline. Some later Moai were also adorned with pukao, massive red scoria volcanic rock hats or topknots, weighing several tons each, placed atop their heads. An additional incredible feat of engineering. The eyes, originally hollowed out, would have been inlaid with white coral and red scoria pupils, bringing the statues to life and, it was believed, activating their spiritual power. The creation of these statues, from quarrying to carving, was an immense undertaking, requiring highly specialized skills and a massive expenditure of labor. The quarries at Rano Raraku are a surreal landscape, filled with hundreds of Moai, some standing upright as if ready to depart, others lying prone, still connected to the bedrock. The tools used were rudimentary: basalt picks for carving the tuff, and later obsidian for finishing details. The sheer number of unfinished statues, seemingly abandoned mid-process, adds to the island's many mysteries. But the greatest enigma, the question that has stumped engineers and fascinated the public for generations, is this: how were these massive Moai statues transported from the Rano Raraku quarry, often many miles, across the rugged and undulating terrain of the island, and then erected onto their ahu, all without the aid of wheels, pulleys, or large draft animals? Theories abound, each with its own proponents and detractors. One popular and widely tested theory suggests a walking technique. This involves using ropes to rock the statues from side to side, gradually inching them forward like a refrigerator being moved. Experiments have shown that this method is plausible for smaller to medium-sized Moai, requiring a relatively small team of people. Another theory proposes the use of wooden sleds and rollers pulled over specially prepared roads. This method, while effective, demands an enormous quantity of timber, a resource that would become critically scarce on the island. Other suggestions include A-frame-like structures or even a complex system of ropes and logs to walk them while upright. The precise method likely varied or involved a combination of techniques, but all required immense human effort and ingenious problem-solving.
However, the story of Easter Island is not just one of ingenuity. It is also a cautionary tale of environmental degradation and societal collapse. Around the 17th and 18th centuries, Rapa Nui experienced a devastating decline. The pristine island that the first Polynesians discovered was lush, covered in dense palm forests, including the now extinct Rapa Nui palm, a giant species that could grow over 60 feet tall. These forests were vital for canoes, fuel, and rollers for Moai transport. But over centuries, the relentless demands of the growing population for agricultural land, slash-and-burn practices, for fuel, and crucially for the timber needed to move and erect the Moai led to catastrophic deforestation. By the 17th century, the island was largely treeless, a stark, barren landscape. This environmental collapse had devastating consequences. Without the forest, soil erosion became rampant, reducing agricultural productivity. The loss of trees meant no more canoes, cutting off access to deep-sea fishing, a crucial protein source. The absence of nesting sites for seabirds led to their extinction on the island, removing another food source. This severe resource depletion triggered a profound societal crisis. The ecocide theory suggests that the islanders, trapped by their own resource consumption and isolated from external aid, essentially destroyed their own environment, leading to a Malthusian catastrophe. The archaeological record shows a dramatic shift, evidence of increased warfare, perhaps even cannibalism, though debated, and a complete breakdown of social order. This period saw the deliberate toppling of the Moai statues. These revered ancestors, once symbols of power and protection, were systematically pulled down, their faces smashed, perhaps symbolizing a rejection of the old order and the gods who had seemingly failed to protect them from famine and conflict. The sophisticated ancestor cult that had defined Rapa Nui society for centuries crumbled. In place of the Moai cult, a new belief system, the Birdman cult, Tangata Manu, emerged, centered around an annual competition to retrieve the first sooty tern egg from the nearby islet of Motu Nui. This shift reflected a desperate adaptation to a new reality, where survival depended on resourcefulness and perhaps a more direct connection to immediate natural cycles, rather than the grand, resource-intensive projects of the past. When European explorers, beginning with the Dutch navigator Jacob Roggeveen on Easter Sunday, 1722, made contact with Rapa Nui, they found a population severely reduced, living in a barren landscape, far from the thriving society hinted at by the remaining Moai. Subsequent European contacts, particularly in the 19th century, brought further devastation. Peruvian slave raids decimated the population, reducing it to a mere 111 individuals by 1877. Disease introduced by outsiders further ravaged the remaining community. The unique Rongo-Rongo script, an undeciphered hieroglyphic writing system indigenous to Rapa Nui, also vanished from living memory during this period, with its last practitioners dying out, taking its secrets with them. Today, Easter Island stands as a poignant and powerful symbol. It is a testament to the incredible ingenuity and artistic spirit of its early Polynesian settlers, who created such monumental works in the most challenging of circumstances. But it is also a stark and sobering warning.
a microcosm of Earth itself, demonstrating the delicate balance between human aspiration, resource management, and the potential for irreversible ecological degradation and societal collapse when those limits are ignored. The Moai, now carefully re-erected and conserved by archaeologists, stands silent once more, not just as guardians of a lost past, but as solemn reminders for our own future. As we conclude our journey through the lost civilizations, secrets buried in time, from the grid-planned cities of the Indus through the legendary depths of Atlantis, the jungle-shrouded temples of the Maya, the enduring pyramids of Egypt, and the remote, silent vigil of Easter Island's Moai, a common thread emerges. These civilizations, whether lost to physical ruin, historical amnesia, or cataclysmic shifts, all speak to the extraordinary capabilities of the human spirit, our capacity for innovation, for grand vision, for spiritual depth, and for building complex, beautiful, and enduring societies. Yet, they also whisper cautionary tales of the fragility of power, the perils of hubris, the devastating consequences of environmental imbalance, and the relentless and unforgiving march of time. The secrets buried in time are not just historical facts, they are profound lessons echoing across the millennia, urging us to understand our past so that we might better navigate our future. The quest for these lost civilizations is, in essence, a quest to understand ourselves, our potential, and our place in the grand, unfolding story of humanity. And the journey, though concluded for now, leaves us with the enduring certainty that many more secrets still await their moment to be unearthed, challenging our perceptions and forever expanding our understanding of the lost worlds that shaped our own. Thank you for joining us on this remarkable expedition.